Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies. Hey, everybody. Hello.
Hi there.
We're like, Leah, where are you? So I have something to talk about that I'm extremely excited about. And if you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, you know that I am a fan of professional American football. And I've talked about it a little bit, I think recently, because I talked about it with Leah, I think, when my team, the Philadelphia Eagles, was going to the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl was Sunday. The Eagles won. Let's have a clap. Let's have a little woohoo.
Congratulations.
Woo!
Go Hurt. Go Hurts.
Go Hurts. Yeah. He's the quarterback. So, and I will have to say, this was kind of fun because I had a few listeners DM me just saying like, hey, congrats. Like, I feel like it was very nice. I just know that if you sent me a DM and you're listening, I super appreciated it because I feel like you understood me. I tried to say it to Leah. I was like, this is like my army fandom. Like your BTS army and like my fandom is like, it's the same thing. It really is. Professional sports fandom. They're just a fandom. They're just a different kind. And they have a lot of toxic masculinity in them often, but they're just a fandom. But I wanted to talk a little bit about manifesting because we talk about manifesting on this podcast a lot. We talk about we talk about goal boards or whatever, vision boards, right? Isn't that what they're called? Like
Yes.
Vision boards. So there were two players who manifested winning the Super Bowl. And first of all, a lot of the players on this team, there's one named AJ Brown who is very vocal about mental health. And he was actually caught on the sidelines reading a book called Inner Excellence, which is all about getting your mindset correct to be a top athlete, which I think is really cool to like promote that. It's not always just about the athletics and what you can do, so much as mindset. And I would say that's probably for any job. That's also for writing.
Yeah.
I've actually been in workshops about manifesting your writing career. And so the quarterback 2 years ago, he was also in the Super Bowl and he lost. And there was a very monumental picture of him after the game was over. He's standing amongst the other team's colored confetti, just standing there. Like he lost the biggest game of his life. And I'm sure at that moment he was really devastated. And we come to find out that he had made that picture was hard on like all the fans in the fandom. Like I didn't like looking at it. He made it his phone wallpaper. Every single day he opened up his phone and he saw that moment where he lost what was his career goal, which was to win the Super Bowl. And he did it on purpose. Like He was like, I needed that reminder to get me to the goal that I want, which is winning the Super Bowl. And I think that that's incredible. I don't think everyone would be able to do that, would be able to like
have your biggest failure.
Have your biggest failure
every day.
Yes. Like, I don't know if that's going to be the motivation for everyone, but it's obviously the motivation for someone and for some people. And there's another player, Saquon Barkley, who said he spent many moments with himself thinking of the moment when he would win the Super Bowl and he would be standing on the field with his confetti raining down with his family. Like he said, he took the time to sit with himself and visualize that. And he said he wasn't going to be done until that visual became a reality. And I just thought it was really cool that we have two players who were, well, and if you count AJ Brown, three, you have three players who kind of openly talking about like the mindset that it takes. And not even just to like win a game. Like we're talking about life, like what kind of mindset you need to be successful at what you want to do. And it was really inspiring to me, to be honest. Like, I was like, I need to get my mindset right about the goals that I want to accomplish. And yeah, maybe I should have like, maybe, that, remember we talked about that email I got from my editor at a Big Five publisher a week after my book was out. And she said, your sales are terrible. Where are your readers? You told us you could get X many sales.
Oh my God. I have a feeling I know where
Yeah,
who
should I
this
put
was.
that?
God damn that
Yeah,
person.
I know.
Seriously.
Should I put that as my wallpaper?
No. No, because that's abuse.
I know, but part of me kind of wants to, but but anyway, I know I've talked about the Eagles a lot on my social media, and I've talked about a lot about it on the show, on the podcast, but sometimes it's really cool to see people you idolize, and especially you think of these people as like otherworldly
Right.
athletes. They're just people. They're just they put on they have to do the same mindset that we do. They still go through the same mental struggles we do. And they go through the failures. It's theirs just might be on a bigger scale, but it felt like relatable to me. So, but thank God they won, because that means my son didn't have to cry himself
I
to sleep.
know. I was so happy for Dane.
Because last Super Bowl 2 years
Oh,
ago,
poor guy.
he absolutely sobbed himself to sleep. It was horrible. He didn't get over it for a very long time. I'm not even joking. I think it changed something in him. I truly do.
It's his trauma. That's like
Yeah,
his
it's
origin
his-
story.
It's his trauma. It's his origin story. So, so they won. We were at a friend's house in like their converted basement, or a converted garage, basically, that was like in their basement. So they had a wood stove to heat it. We had to turn the wood stove off because we were all sweating.
Oh my gosh.
Like, there was enough of us in that room that could heat it with our bodies because we were yelling. And every time the Eagles scored, the host, he would play the fight song that lasted, I swear to God, a minute. We had to sing this fight song every time they scored. They scored a lot of points. It was a blowout.
Hey, what?
win.
I saw.
Yeah, and we had to sing this song a million freaking times. My voice was hoarse. I was like, I'm tired of scoring. Like, I'm tired. It's terrible. I'm sorry. If you're a Chiefs fan, I am sorry. But for us, it was a big deal. It was a lot of fun. It means a lot to my husband. I've been an Eagles fan since I met my husband, so over 20 years. And so it felt really good, and it was a good time had by all. Like I said, it's just another fandom. I feel like we don't use the word fandom as much when we're talking about professional sports, but that's
But
what
it
they
is.
are.
It really is.
Yeah. Like, we're the same, We write our own fan fiction, but it's just about like scoring touchdowns or something,
And that's okay. But I
Yeah.
love the manifesting bit. I love, because mindset is such a big part of anything that you want to accomplish. Like, if you sit down to write and hit your word count for the day and you're not in it mentally, it's not going to happen. Like,
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I have not been there mentally I've really been struggling with writing, and I feel like I've sat with myself now a little bit, and I've been thinking about those players and about how, and I know that is a totally different scale than me, but they're still
But
people.
it's still
and
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it still felt relatable, and so I have been thinking a lot more about my mindset, how I write, and even my mindset for goals that we have for this podcast, because we do have goals for this podcast.
We do.
And goals for you listeners and things like that. So yeah, I just thank you two, because you two were really sweet, because you were definitely cheering.
I was happiest for Dane.
You were
I mean,
cheering.
to be honest, like
Yeah.
I wrote congrats, Dane.
You did.
Yeah.
You were cheering for my son's happiness. I really
was.
appreciate.
I mean,
did
because
appreciate that.
I knew that would make life easier for you
Thank you.
too,
It did.
if Dane was happy. So
It made life so much easier, because we had to drive home for like 40 minutes.
did he have happy
From a
tears? Like, was he emotional?
No,
Oh, okay, good.
I think he just was like,
I mean, not that there's anything wrong with happy tears, but I'm glad he
well,
was
this
okay.
is what I think. I think he braced himself. I think, again, I think 2 years changed him. I think he just thought they would win 2 years ago. I really think he was 12 then, I guess, 12. He was a little bit of a different kid, 2 years. A lot has happened in his life in 2 years.
Felt like life was there for the
Yes.
taking, and then realized.
Now
Yes.
he's hardened by his trauma.
He is. He's Now a proper hardened NFL fan, he knows what it's like, and I guess
Not to go in it, just believe in the best.
yeah, it was funny. It was my husband's very we were very superstitious too. Like I went up to go to the bathroom, and then like something good happened for the Chiefs, and they were like, "Megan, get back down here. We're gonna chain you in your seat." Like we couldn't switch seats during the game. Like at one point, I kind of wanted to switch seats, and then we were all like, "No, we can't." So when we all go back to the same seats, like very superstitious. We couldn't mess anything up, and I made this like so. I'll say this, and then we'll move on. But I made dirt dessert, which is my husband's favorite dessert because he's 12. But it's basically just crushed Oreos and chocolate pudding. But I made a little thin row of like vanilla pudding that I dyed green to like for Philadelphia Eagles green. And as it like sat in the refrigerator, the green changed to like radioactive green. Like I don't know what I did. That it looked, and if you have vanilla pudding, it looked like slime. It looked like radioactive. It looks like the slime you have in like Ghostbusters. Okay, that's what it looked like. It looked like Ghostbusters slime, and everyone's like, "What flavor is that?" I was like, "I swear it's just vanilla and food coloring." Like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, we are America full of terrible food dyes. Like, but it was really good. But then they won, and my husband's like, "Well, now you have to make it every game. Clearly, you have to make dirt dessert every game." I was like, "Absolutely not. I'm not doing that."
With the exact right amount of food coloring.
With
too.
the exact same. It was pretty funny. So yeah. Anyway, that's good. So let's all manifest what we want. You know, let's all make it our phone wallpaper. Whatever you need to do, sit down and visualize it.
You do need a way
And
to look at it all the time. Like I have, I made a vision board on Canva, and it is my home screen on my laptop. So every time I open my laptop, like I see it.
I think I need to. I honestly do. I think I need a
I
big
don't look at it
whiteboard.
enough, though.
Yeah, I think I need a big whiteboard in my office with some with some visuals. I think I do. I think I need like I think I do. I think I need to do a better job. So thank you to my Eagles for inspiring me, and I hope you guys are inspired too.
I'm a big manifest believer, so
I
I like
know.
this energy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just
Absolutely.
say I speak my goal to this podcast is that, I'm gonna high five Kong Ha Newell someday and say, thank you. Kamsamnida.
Thank you.
Kamsamnida for that
Thank you
big
for your
ass mouth.
Yeah.
Thank you for your mouth and your teeth. Kang Han Nul.
Well, I am very thankful for the podcast we're doing today.
Yes.
So we are doing another Tropetastic First episode today, which Megan introduced back in November, I think it was, for we did it for I'm Not a Robot. And then Leah did it for Me Saying, where we watched the first episode and like went through tropes and like, what do we learn about the characters and the story just from that first episode. And it's all based on, I want to go back to the article that you found, Megan, to give it credit. It's all back to an article by Jennifer Hilt titled Fourth Wing Fantasy Tropes in the First 3 Pages, where she took a look at Rebecca Yaros's book, Fourth Wing, and every trope that was in those first 3 pages, and it was a lot. And we're finding the same thing with K-dramas, too. And I think there's something to be said for writers who know how to hook you with, like, that tropetastic butter in the beginning. Because we have talked before about how we will give a drama, like, 3 or 4 episodes usually to get into it. And then if we're really not feeling it, then maybe we'll drop it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I messaged you both after I watched episode 1 of this. So I was trying to figure out what to watch next. I was still in my Mr. Plankton hangover. And I watched the first episode of When the Stars Gossip, and cheers to everybody who is loving it. But the first episode did not hook me, even though I wanted it to, because, Lee Min-ho. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try Love Scout. Whichever one grabs me more, I'm just going to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I messaged you both after the first episode of Love Scout, and I was like, I cannot remember the last time I finished a first episode and loved it so much and didn't need to wait that, 3-4 episodes to figure out if I liked a drama. I thought this was a fantastic first episode, which is why I chose it to talk about for tonight. Now, I do want to say we are recording this on February 12th. The last episode of Love Scout has not dropped yet, so I don't know how this drama ends. I will in a couple of days. But it was really great out of the gate, which is why I chose it for today. And, I've brought it up before. If we don't go to Argon in episode 12, I think I'll be happy enough, no matter how it ends, to recommend this drama to you all. So that's why I chose it for today.
Cool.
So here we go. There will be spoilers, but only for the first episode of Love Scout, because that's all we're talking about.
Yep.
So if you haven't yet started the drama, I hope today's episode urges you to do so, because it's an absolute delight. And I don't think this will spoil anything for you except for like the joy of seeing it happen before we talk about it. But if you're listening right now and you're like, you know what? I want to watch this first episode before you talk about it. It's just an hour. We're not diving into the territory that Singles Inferno has gone into, where we've got like 80-minute episodes.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
I
It's
know.
ridiculous.
It's an hour, like an hour and 5 maybe.
Yeah.
So, and a quick watch, and I'd say a compelling watch. So, Megan, you did a great one, like a log line when we did I'm Not a Robot. I could not get everything into a log line, so I wrote a really short blurb. So let's see what you all think of this blurb. So, Kang Ji-yoon, a CEO of a headhunting firm who lives for her job, always recruits the top candidates for the most prestigious companies. Yoo Eun-ho, a single father HR manager, thrives on organization, routine, and above all, integrity. When the two cross paths, Kang Ji-yoon loses a high-profile recruit, thanks to Eun-ho. Eun-ho loses his job, he thinks, thanks to Kang Ji-yoon. And thanks to the powers of the universe, Eun-ho winds up as Ji-yoon's assistant. She's determined to make him quit. He's determined to support his daughter. Falling in love is out of the question. Thoughts
I
on this
love it.
blurb, and how many tropes can you identify?
Yeah, you did a really good job, because it's basically, it kind of starts out as, I would say, like rivals, not really enemy. I mean, kind of enemies. I mean, they have
I'd
very
say it's enemies. I'd say
Yeah,
it's
Totally
you're
enemies.
right. Enemies. I mean, they have completely competing goals, which I think we'll get into. But they, at the very beginning, they are completely at odds with each other. They want drastically different goals, the opposite of the other. Kang Ji-yoon wants this man to take a job at the company she's recommending, and Eun-ho wants that same man to stay at his company. So, like, they are directly opposing. And we also get a very clear idea that I think, like, moralistically, they're a little different, or at least moralistically when it comes to how they deal with people and employees. They're very, very different. So I don't know what trope that is. But then at the very end, when you find out he's going to be your new assistant, that it's like forced proximity. It's like enemies to lovers, forced proximity, which is just the juiciest, best type of office romance you can get.
Yeah, I think so. You both have like watched on, so I think this is all I've seen so far is episode 1.
Yeah.
So 2 that we haven't mentioned are single dad.
Yes.
Yeah, duh.
So we have the single dad trope very clearly with Eun-ho and his daughter, who God bless her, but I forget her name.
Yeol.
But she's
Yeol.
Yeol.
yeah, she's very cute. And then I think that another trope that we have is kind of like part of like, his journey especially is like the bad boss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've got like bad boss, and then overall it's like it's an office romance, obviously.
Okay, so let's take a look at the first few scenes of the episode that introduce our heroine, Kang Ji-yoon. A woman, Kang Ji-yoon, played by Han Ji-min, is silhouetted walking through a dark garage as the garage door slowly opens out onto a sunny raceway. She's dressed in an all-white pantsuit, and among the amplified sound of her heels hitting the ground, we get a voiceover of her outlining the long list of professional credentials for the man she's going to meet, a race car designer. She sits down with him in the spectator section as he watches one of his cars test drive around the empty stadium. She's there to recruit him as a designer for an electric car company. And while he's convinced he's too old and settled to start over, she knows exactly the right things to say to get him to change direction, ending with, "The racetrack is a loop. Why not begin a new starting line?" Cut to a short time jump where we see her recruit at a car show being lauded for his new and innovative EV design. Soon after, we see Kang Ji-yoon doing an interview for what looks like college students. The interviewer asks her, "What are your requirements to recommend talent?" And Ji-yoon replies with, "A person worth the salary." When a student accuses her of being vulgar by measuring a person's worth In Money, Ji-yoon adds, if worthwhile work is vulgar, in a capitalistic society, what does not worth a salary mean? It's criminal. And with a smile, she concludes, I'd rather be vulgar than rob employers. After this, she walks outside, exhausted. She hops into the backseat of a car, tosses her purse down, and takes off her shoes, only to realize she's in the wrong car. When she finally makes it back to her office at her company, People's, we see her stride past frenzied employees and into her office, where once again she tosses her purse wherever it may land, and she sits down at her desk covered in piles of papers and files in frightening disarray, frightening for me,
Mhm.
as she fires up her computer to begin researching her next recruit, Yang Ho-jin. So, this was long, too. This was 12 minutes, because we get a much shorter introduction to Eun-ho in a little bit. So, how effective is this 12-minute introduction of our heroine? What tropes do we see involving Kang Ji-yoon's character that we might not have gotten from the blurb alone?
Yeah, I like this introduction of her mainly because I can see how there's like room for growth. Like immediately I can see, I will say we're probably going to get to this, but I know I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. But I did say in this first episode, it definitely did felt like a little bit of a reversal to what like the traditional type of gender norms were given. She's kind of like the tsundere character. She's all about work. And Eun-ho is a little bit more of like, I humanize people, you know. But Kang Ji-yoon's definitely all about business. But on a personal level, you can see, like, outside, she's professional, she's dressed well. And then inside, I think she's a little bit like her office. Just like a mess of files, dead plants. Just a mess. She can never find her shoes.
Or
Very
her
relatable.
phone, like she
Never
is
find her phone.
scattered. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to just call out the fact that it's people's.
Like she,
Yeah, it just made me
Like
laugh
sheets.
so much when I saw it. I was like, people's.
people's.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, how this personifies her is it is not cool. And she's empirically not cool. However, what I really appreciated about her, besides the fact that, like, yeah, maybe she's got like some like commodification of people philosophy, which I don't resonate with. Something I really like about her is she's clearly very competent. And I really enjoyed her giving the sales pitch to kind of like the race car designer. And when she came up with the whole analogy of the racetrack as a loop, why not begin a new starting line? I'm like, damn, that would have sold me too. I think I would have been like, holy shit, man, you're right. Like,
Right. Lead me wherever you want me to go.
and so, yeah, I was trying to see how she was going to like get him to do what she wanted. And she was really smart. And I felt like she didn't coerce him. In fact, it made it seem like this, like she got what she wanted. But I also felt like it was the best choice for him too. And so I really liked the competency there.
Yeah. I mean, they show obviously she's researched this man. She knows like everything about him. And yeah, extremely competent.
So next, let's take a look at Eun-ho. And this part that I'm going to read, going over the scene where we're introduced to Eun-ho, this is 4 minutes. That's all he gets on screen. And I think we get a lot in those 4 minutes. So we cut to two men in the boardroom of Hansu Electronics worrying about employees getting poached to work elsewhere. They need someone to ensure that team leader Yang, name sound familiar from Kang Ji-yoon's next recruit, to ensure that he does not leave. They decide on Yoo Eun-ho, my new husband, Lee Jun-hyuk, for the task at hand. Cut to a very handsome man in a suit, messenger bag slung across his body as he strides through the morning crowd of people on the way to work. The sun is shining and the music is upbeat, but Eun-ho checks his watch and looks slightly anxious as he continues on his way. At the office, he smiles and says hello to everyone on the way to his desk. But he bypasses his own desk and heads to that of team leader Yang, only to find that the guy he's supposed to be babysitting and keeping, from talking to headhunters has taken the day off. When he snoops around team leader Yang's desk, he figures out where he might have gone and starts packing up to go after him. He tells his colleague he's off to find team leader Yang, and his colleague tries to tell him that team leader Yang is meeting a headhunter. It's already too late. Then he reminds Eun-ho that Chief Song, their boss, put Eun-ho on this assignment knowing that he would fail just to mess with him. But Eun-ho says that's all the more reason to make team leader Yang stay and takes off to find him. So we only get this quick introduction of our hero. How effective are these 4 minutes? What tropes do we see involving Eun-ho's character that we might not have gotten from the blurb?
I mean, it's more competency porn.
So much.
And I liked it because you saw her be competent in a very specific way, and then you see him being competent in a very different way. And I think a lot of it is like the power differentiation. Like she is coming in as like a CEO, right? She's like coming in like boss babe energy, and he's coming in as kind of like everyman office lackey, but is still operating at a very effective. But I mean, like, he's not the Chable's son or something. You know what I mean? Like, so you can tell that he is socially going to be kind of like more inferior, and that he is kind of like in some ways, yeah, I mean, honestly, he's kind of a little bit of a grunt. Like if you're tasked with babysitting and your boss is like got it out for you, like, you're not in a very like powerful position in your office.
No. Yeah, I mean, I still wasn't quite sure. I would say this is a very short introduction for him. I do think later in the first episode, you get to know him a lot better. I would say that one, I was still like, I liked him. Again, he was competent. I liked that. But I was still like, who is he exactly?
Right.
Like, I still wasn't quite sure yet. But I was eager for like what I thought was going to be this like little showdown.
So we've kind of already brought this up, but from these first 15 minutes, so what can we deduce about Kang Ji-yoon and Yoo Eun-ho's GMCs, their goals, motivations, and conflict, and how their GMCs, their conflicts are going to be each other, right?
Well, I think they both have short-term and long-term conflicts. So first of all, obviously, I mentioned this earlier, but Kang Ji-yoon's short-term goal is to have this chef, Yang, because that's what he is. He's like a chef.
No, this is not the chef.
Oh, this is not the
This
chef.
is the phone
Oh,
app
this is
designer.
I'm
yeah.
sorry. You're right. This is the phone guy. Yeah, some phone designer.
Hansu Electronics, remember?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So she wants him to. She has basically a company that is hiring her to find them the perfect phone designer. And she wants him to leave his current company. I mean, her motivation is obviously this is her business. This is what she's good at. This is what she does. And that's in direct conflict with Eun-ho, who is tasked with keeping Yang at his company. And it's a big deal. We learn more so later because he's really trying to prove himself to his boss. We do learn more about that a little bit later.
I think, again, what we see is that their GMCs are going to conflict. For me, I'm just going to go back to, again, that power differential of where we see she's kind of like the boss babe, like, head in charge, and he is going to be more of like that every man in the office. And so knowing that I'm going into a romance, even though they haven't met yet and they haven't really like crossed paths much, I think that, or at all, but like, look, you're like starting the drama. Like you see the poster, like you know it's
it's coming.
Like you know
where
it's coming.
going.
This is a romance.
And so I think it sets it up that you can see that, very much it's just like they've got two different positions, and her position is to kind of like be like master, She-Ra, master of the universe kind of thing. And his is to try to get people from like getting sucked into like her power vortex, which, so yeah, there's a very big power differential. And then you just assume that like all of their motivations, conflict, and goals are going to be in opposition from that point on.
Yeah, a great setup for rivals, enemies, whatever it turns out to be.
And let me just say, though, because one thing with enemies to lovers, too, is that you've got to have people being kind of like, often it's like you're going to have them both going for like the same job, like that's a very common one. Like we're both going for the same promotion, or they're both kind of like, if it's going to be like an enemies thing, like we're both going to like be around each other and be like, I hate you. And it's going to be like very like, ugh. And at the beginning, like I would say especially in the first 15 minutes, like I'm like, maybe she'd be a little nasty. I don't know. In some ways, I feel like she's kind of even like beyond that, like, where maybe she's like short tempered or like demands a lot and has like resting bitch face. But like, I didn't get a sense that she was going to be kind of like wildly petty. I mean, she may, but I'm just saying like in the first 15 minutes, that's not like a sense I was getting from her. It was kind of like, I'm beyond it. I mean, I can't even be bothered. I'd just be like, you're a peon, like get on with it almost. And then for him, I didn't get a sense of like a nasty bone in the man's body. And so that also kind of intrigues me because I feel like it's a little bit different to like what the setup is that you're usually going to see, where somebody like, it feels like you're going to have just kind of like a lot of petty in the enemies to lovers. And I just didn't get a lot of petty vibes going in the first 15 minutes, which caught my attention because it felt different, even though it felt like a very familiar concept. I was like, the vibes felt different. And for me, this is butter. Because I've been trying to explain this a little bit. Sorry, I'm going to go on a little tangent. I've been trying to
No?
explain this, and we're going to be doing I'm going to be doing a podcast on When the Stars Gossip because I'm the only one watching it. And in the Patreon, because there's quite a few people watching it in the Patreon, I would say it's kind of like runs the gamut. Some people are hate watching it. Some people like totally love it and are just like, this is super fun, or I'm like really into this couple. For me, I'm kind of like a bit of both in that, like, I wouldn't say I'm hate watching it. Like, I am enjoying it enough, but I do hate the main couple, which is a real issue that I'll get into when I unpack that drama. And I was trying to think about why, because people were like, if you don't think it's good, if you don't think it's this. And I'm like, look, there's some reasons I don't think this is a very successful drama that I can unpack. But also, I really like shy away from the idea of like when something's good or not good. Because I think like sometimes in romance, like there's going to be something that like I might be like, look, this plot wasn't great, but like, oh my God, it was so good. I just was like so attracted to it because of like the butter was like my kind of butter. And so, for example, like Moon Lovers is like that for me, where I'm like, you can poke like 90,000 plot holes in it. I'm going to give that all to you and say that butter still is delicious to me.
Right.
And so in the first 15 minutes, I felt like the butter I was getting out of this situation was very much like my kind of butter. Like immediately I was like, I actually give a shit about both these characters. For the first time in a while, like I haven't given a shit about drama characters in a minute.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm very invested
In
immediately.
episode 1. Yeah.
We're still in the first 15
Yes,
minutes.
we're in 15
I was like,
minutes.
I cared immediately about both of them,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting because she wasn't exactly like warm and sympathetic. I was
Yep.
just like, damn, I'm kind of like into this, like, go mama. And then like for him, I was like, oh, you're cute and kind of giving me this everyman, but it just doesn't feel hokey. Like I
Nope.
actually am rooting for you as like a fully formed character.
Yeah, I said to Amy, and this is just based on episode 1, although it gets solidified as I'm on like episode 7 right now. But he often, when you have these characters like with this dynamic, the man is often a little golden retriever-ish, which means
Mhm.
kind of like, I don't know, just picture a golden retriever personality. You know what I'm saying with this.
Kind of like the guy from the character in Attorney Woo. I feel
Yeah.
like he gives a very golden retriever energy.
Yeah.
Or even Kang Han-noon when the camellia blooms. He's just a little
Yeah.
bit of like an earnest golden retriever, and there's more like comedic relief from him. And this main character Eun-ho is not like that. Like he's still very much in control, confident, competent in his own power, almost a little bit of an alpha, I would say, because he's just very controlled. I don't know. I like it. I think it's a different dynamic than some K-dramas have been giving
Mhm.
us.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of sort of bucking of conventions in this with the hero and heroine, and I really, really like it.
Yeah.
So, we're going to get past 15 minutes. After this, we find Kang Ji-yoon with team leader Yang meeting outdoors at a Buddhist temple on an overlook with a gorgeous view of Seoul. As she tries to pitch him on the company that wants to recruit him, they're interrupted by Eun-ho, who effectively crashes the party and spooks team leader Yang into leaving, saying he'll contact Kang Ji-yoon later. Eun-ho tells Kang Ji-yoon that team leader Yang is a valued member of the company and to leave him alone. But Ji-yoon argues that his company needs to follow market logic and pay him what he's worth. Eun-ho counters by saying that a person's worth is based on more than just market logic, and that all people like Ji-yoon do is steal key talent and make chaos. He argues for a company's loyalty and ethics, and that things like that matter more than short-term personal gain. She calls him old-fashioned and tells him that big companies will never value individuals over profit. Then she drops the mic and walks away. And then suddenly it's dark out.
Yeah.
Which cracked me up because it
Me
was
too.
broad daylight.
Like, how long is it taking to walk down the
Right,
stairs?
how
that
long does it
goes
take you?
Dark.
Like dark and there's nobody else.
It's wild.
Nobody else. Like at least give us dusk before
I
this,
know,
but no.
Right?
So it's dark, okay? And Kang Ji-yoon is walking alone down the many steps from the temple to the ground level when, of course, her phone dies, which means no more flashlight. Eun-ho comes up behind her, phone fully juiced because he would never let his phone die, and walks a few paces ahead of Ji-yoon, then stops, turns back to face her, and uses his flashlight to light the way for her.
Oh.
They share a long look. This is shot so well. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
And then continue down the mountain in utter silence. When they reach the bottom, the only thing she says is, "Let's never meet again." And then Eunho nods and walks away. Fucking kill me.
Yeah.
In Romancelandia, we'd call this whole interaction the love interests meet cute. What did you think of it? And what romance tropes can we pull from this meeting? And do we see any butter making us want more interactions with these two?
Honestly, do you know what this gave me in a really powerful way? Was I got such Crash Landing on You vibes from this moment. Like, I don't
Mm.
know, there was something about that interaction of just that really simple, but, like, very thoughtful meeting their needs without necessarily, like, like, they're very distant still, and I don't know, it just I don't there was something in it that I was like, "Wow, this really," like, even though this drama has no real bearing similarities to Crash Landing on You, that moment really centered me in that. So if I had to think of the butter of it, I guess it would be that protective, gentle attentiveness with, like, Suri and this Heron are both kind of like, yeah, the CEO, like a very, like, powerful, competent woman who is used to, like, kind of owning everything and is being put in a very vulnerable position, like,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, like, surprisingly so. And then they're with a man who's not actually taking away their power to attend to them, but just giving them what they need in that moment to, like, get through the next, like, 10 minutes.
That perfectly sums up almost like the entire drama. Like once that like it gets going, like I'm sorry to like again, this isn't a spoiler, but that's what he does.
Well, if that's true, then this is, like, my absolute pornography, and I will be watching it all this week.
I mean, that is what he does. He basically supports her in a kind and gentle way, never in a way that makes her feel embarrassed, never in a way that makes her feel less than or diminished. He's basically like, I'm helping you. I'm like supporting you to be your better self. Like, I recognize your power and your authority, and I'm into it. And I just want to like feed you and like fix your collar before a meeting. Like, that's all I want to do for you. Like, that's basically him. And so, yeah, that like meet cute right there. Cause he isn't like, oh, your phone went out. Like, just so you know, if that was like Neil and I on the stairs, he'd be like, oh, don't have your phone charged? He'd be like, where's your external charger? No, I actually don't think he would. I think he would just help me down. But I like that. I like that he was just like, I'm not going to say a word because, well, this can happen to anyone. I'm just going to light your way. You're wearing heels. I feel bad.
Yep.
And that's it. He doesn't say anything. And he even like the look on his face, he's not like gloating.
No,
He's
he's
not
not at
smug.
all. Nope.
He's just like, hey, like, and I loved their initial conversation as well because I like it because to me, they're two extremes. Like, to me, I like my personal belief is like somewhere in the middle of them, like she has a point. It's okay. And so does he
Right.
on how companies treat people, how, that kind of thing. And so I like that too, because I also was like, oh, they're both going to teach each other something. So this is going to be cool.
It's a great assessment of Eunho and the type of person he is.
Yeah.
So we next see team leader Yang show up at a team dinner where he and Eunho have a private chat about the value Yang brings to Hansu Electronics. Eunho thinks he's bested Chief Song, and all feels right for the moment. The next day, we see Kang Ji-yoon approach team leader Yang again to try and close the deal, but he's on his way to his son's soccer game, so she offers to give him a ride, which he accepts. But Yang is distracted by a call from his son, and when he shows up on the soccer field, he's greeted by none other than Eunho, who is already there. Yang then tells Kang Ji-yoon to forget the recruitment offer, and Ji-yoon is foiled again. Eunho and team celebrate with another team dinner until Chief Song shows up and says that keeping team leader Yang cost the company money because they had to make him a counteroffer. He continues to treat Eunho like a slug stuck to the bottom of his shoe. He reminds the team how they all had to work overtime when Eunho took an unexpected parental leave and that Eunho just leeches off the company. Like, it's so horrible. Like, I was
It
like
is.
sick to my stomach for this scene. Like, seriously.
Same.
Chief Song won't even let Eunho pour him a drink. Like, Eunho takes it all and then still tries to pour him a drink. And when Chief Song stumbles into a cab drunk at the end of the night, he tells Eun-ho that he's just getting started as far as, the way that he's treating him. So, what similarities or differences do we see trope-wise in Kang Ji-yoon and Yoo Eun-ho's professional lives?
Yeah, well, Eun-ho like knows everyone. He's like friends with everyone, and his coworkers clearly like him. They like him a lot. The women all have a crush on him, and he's friends with the men. Like clearly it's a working environment that, other than his boss, is decent. And then there's Kang Ji-yoon, who's like, I think at this point she doesn't know all her employee names. Like, I'm not sure if
That's
does that
coming
come
up.
later.
That's coming
Okay,
up.
that comes
Yeah.
later. But you can definitely tell, like, she's not friendly with them. They like hide from her. She also needs a secretary really, really bad, because she abuses the director. Can I also say one thing, like right here at this point? So I thought what was going to happen was that Eun-ho was going to take the secretary job in order to sabotage Kang Ji-yoon from taking this employee.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
I was wondering how he was going to end up working for her.
Correct.
Because he knows who she is now. So,
Yes.
why? Yeah.
Yes. So that's what I just want to say. That's not what happened. We'll get to that. But that was where I thought this was going. Like, I truly thought that that's where this was going. But then he was going to like stay the same. I didn't know how that was going to play out. But that was initially, I guess I thought that like team leader Yang thing was going to extend longer. It doesn't. As we learn later, there's almost like vignettes of people that they like hire as candidates throughout like the episodes.
Something that I thought was interesting too, that like, I don't know if we needed it, but whatever. Like, I was kind of like, it's fine. It was kind of like the thing, like, what's the name of the plot convention where like, like people need to like you, or you need to have like those signalings that people like you. The other week when we were talking, it was like when you give like the guy gives like water to like a dog or something, like the thing.
The save the cat. Save the cat.
Oh,
yeah,
so it is just the save the cat. Okay.
Yeah.
So in some ways I felt like the save the cat to me, and maybe I'm like misspeaking how this beat works, but something I just was thinking about was like how like everyone, like, he walks around and like every lady around is like, oh, like, he's the best dad, or he's perfect for my daughter, or like at the park, everyone's like, woo la la. And so there's just this thing where you just see like his whole world is like everyone, like they were basically like had a neon sign that's like good guy, good guy, good guy.
Yes.
Like they wanted, like, the drama wants to convey that he's likable. And so we're supposed to know, oh, this is a likable dude. And we're also supposed to know that Kang Ji-yoon isn't super likable.
Right.
Like, it's definitely a contrast in how we're presented their characters. I completely agree.
And what I think is interesting is we've got this guy who's so stinking likable, but the one person he needs to like him treats him like shit, which is his boss.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So now we're going to get into what we've already started talking about, which is competency porn, which is what made me fall for Eun-ho.
Mm-hmm. We love it.
So Eun-ho arrives home from the disastrous team dinner, but heads to a neighbor's house first, Soo-hyun, played by Kim Yoon-hae, and picks up his daughter, Byul, who is there playing with Soo-hyun's son, Seo-jun. Soo-hyun's mom gives Eun-ho a bunch of side dishes to take back to his apartment, and then we get some exposition about Eun-ho from the colleagues still sitting at the restaurant and drinking. So we learn a little bit of backstory. Eun-ho has recently returned to work after a year-long leave to deal with Byul's mental health issues. He chose to be there for his daughter and to get her the therapy she needed, and only when she was healthy did he return to work. But by then, Chief Song, who used to laud Eun-ho as his top employee, was bitter after he himself lost out on a promotion, which he now blames on Eun-ho's absence. Now his main goal seems to be making Eun-ho as miserable as possible. Byul is now healthy, and we get a glimpse into their happy home life the next day as she gets ready for school and Eun-ho gets ready for work. He checks their whiteboard calendar, cooks them both breakfast, and even does Byul's hair. Then he walks Byul and Seo-jun to school, and we get a slow-mo reveal of the three of them walking under the cherry blossoms while an Old West-sounding cowboy score plays, and the other mothers rush to touch up their makeup before Eun-ho sees them. So we brought it up, but like, let's actually define it. Like, what do we mean when we say competency porn? And how do these few scenes of Eun-ho getting ready for the day illustrate it so well?
Leah, how would you define it? I'm actually
Yeah, I'm thinking about it right now. Like, how would I
okay.
define it is so because this is for the female gaze,
Right.
Yeah.
I would say that because competency porn at its basic definition is just like a person being shown being really good at something.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so, like, there's lots of things. Like, normally when you're watching like action movies, there's a lot of competency porn, right? Like, you see them always being like the best of the best at something. But what gets me here and why this is like my butter in like this type of competency porn is that this is for the female gaze. And what you're seeing is like a man who handles his home
Yes.
and like just does his shit. Like, he's not like, oh no, how do I braid my daughter's hair and make her breakfast and get her to school on time? My house is a mess. Like, he's just like plowing through it. And I was just like, the sexiness of this. And okay, I'm going to be a little bit, I'm going to get into my home life just for a second. But I did have a fight with my husband last night. I hope he doesn't listen to this podcast, so it should be okay. And I mean, I'm not going to get into like the weeds of it, but I mean, there's not many weeds to get into. But let me give the alternate to why like this is good. And I'm not throwing them under the bus saying like in life they're just like an incompetent person. Like, there's many things that they do competently and helpfully. Caveat aside, last night we had a situation where one of my kids spilled like a chocolatey like shake thing that they'd taken that I said don't take. It was like one of my like protein shakes. They'd taken it and they spilled it on the carpet. So that's annoying, right? It's like 7:30 at night. I'd just gotten home from like a really long day. Like, that spills. It's like, motherfucker. But, it sucks. I was mad, but I also wasn't like, this is the end of days, whatever. But then through like, just a series of end of the day, like, people not being their best selves, like my husband and I got like kind of snippy with each other. And he was like, I'm going to go lay down on the bed. And I went and looked at the kitchen and I was like, you work from home. All this nasty shit from lunch is still out. It's going to rain. Like, we're getting a lot of rain tonight. So all the ants come in when it rains. So I'm like, all these ants were coming into the kitchen. I was like, there was like food still from like lunch that hadn't been put away. I was just like, there's just shit. And then there was like dinner stacked up. Like, I was just like, there is so much nast in here. So I went and I was like, actually, no. I'm like, go in the kitchen and clean up your shit. Like, just go clean it up. So he goes out, looks at it all and is like, points at some art because I'm making like bracelets for like a concert. He looks at like my J-Hope bracelets on the table and he's like, well, you have all that out. And I was like, I honestly was like, this is so unattractive right now.
This is
was
not
literally
hot.
what I said. We have to make reparations tonight. He called me before the podcast to be like, can we talk it out? And we'll talk it out and it's fine. But I mean, look, I am a very blunt person. Like, if like I'm just not going to, like, I would not be an easy person to be in a relationship with because I don't sugarcoat. And so I just was like, full stop. Like, I am not into that. Like, whatever you're offering in this scenario, like, just clean your shit and like do it. And like,
Your
just
bracelets aren't bringing in the ants.
Yeah,
I was
it's
just like, do the labor. Just do the labor. Like this,
Yeah.
like I was like, just take it. Like, this doesn't need to be like a one-up, like, ugh. I was just like, just do it. I was like, nothing about like you not cleaning up your lunch is like helpful or attractive right now. Just like do it and get on with your day. Like, we don't need to make this like a federal fight to the death. Just do it. And so that depletes me. And that is not a fantasy, right? Like, that's like,
Right.
ugh. And I understand that K-dramas aren't real life. But what I'm saying, we're like tied into this. I'm like, here's somebody who's like, they're going to make breakfast and they're going to be doing I'm dropping my phone. I'm like just gesticulating so much. But they're going to like make breakfast. They're going to be cleaning that breakfast bowl and putting it away before work. You're not going to come home and have like breakfast all over the table with like 90 ants like mating inside of the bowl. Like, and I'm like, that's hot. Like, look, I'm
It
5
is.
years old. That's hot.
Yeah. I mean, we just had our Valentine's Day episode, so we kind of talked about this, and I said the same thing. Like, I don't necessarily, action movies are really fun. It's fun to watch like a man who's competent at like fighting a bar full of like baddies or whatever, but that's not what I need on a daily basis. That's not what I want. That's not on an everyday basis. I want you to, be able to like load the dishwasher or something like that. And Eun-ho is just so good at like the basics of life. It's so hot.
It's so hot. Like, if you give me like 5 snapshots from that morning getting ready scene, him looking at the whiteboard calendar, him chopping the vegetables, him
Amy
doing the
immediately
old hair,
saw.
make that a dating profile. Like, if there is a man out there who knows who I am and is at all interested in what I got to offer, like, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
You want no, this is what you would swipe right on that whiteboard. That's all you
Yeah.
need. You don't even need a picture of him.
Show me your calendar. Show me your whiteboard calendar, and I'm swiping right.
I believe
Seriously.
it. That was a very hot calendar.
No, show me your whiteboard calendar and like what Leah just said, and no dishes in the sink, and I'm in.
Color coded. Let's do it.
Yeah, show me your clean sink. Your clean
Oh,
sink in your
God.
calendar.
Oh, so sexy. Like,
I know.
seriously.
Seriously, clean sink and a calendar. That's all I fucking need.
Yeah.
If you can braid my hair, oh my God. We could go on about the competency porn, but we have other things to do today. Sadly. So from here, we go back to Peoples, where Kang Ji-yoon is in the process of firing an incompetent employee whose name she keeps saying wrong.
Mm.
So it's the guy did a bad thing and he deserves to be fired. Like, he inflated a resume for somebody he was trying to get a company to hire. Like, he did a shitty thing, but she keeps saying his like first and middle name backwards. And it's so shitty. And he's like, he keeps correcting her.
Her office is not that big. Like, girl.
No.
In all honesty, get it together.
Honestly, it kind of made me feel like I could do that, but
I thought it was funny.
I'm actually very good at being a boss.
I thought it was funny because he was a dick, but also it shows you how scattered she is and how much time she doesn't put into her own employees that she does put into all these recruits, right?
Right.
So then we see Eun-ho being belittled and kicked out of a meeting by Chief Song. Again, this made me want to throw up.
Yeah, it was awful.
Like, so bad.
Mhm.
His friend then reminding him that he can't quit because of Beal's tuition. Then we get Ji-yoon working late, her friend and colleague forcing her out of the office, her friend Mie, forcing her out of the office to sit down and eat and reminding her that if she doesn't treat her employees better, that they'll leave. So yeah, like I feel like we're getting like some archetypes here, right? Like, I'm just going to throw out there because I don't want this to be too much like my last question. Like, we've got somebody like Kang Ji-yoon who just like isn't putting the time in at work. Then we've got Eun-ho who's putting so much time in at work, and neither of them are getting what they want out of that, right?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, what do we say about their characters here? Like, I feel like we've got like some archetypes going on here.
Well, it feels like they're both, I would say this isn't an archetype, but I do feel like they're both hitting sort of like a crisis point a little bit, or they're hitting basically like a catalyst that's going to change them. Because I feel like Eun-ho, like something's got to give. And same with Ji-yeon, because you really feel like she is starting to unravel a little bit. Like, things are not, like, she's really good at her job, but like just specifically her job, like when she sits down and does her candidate list or whatever,
Right.
But she's not eating properly, she's not sleeping properly, and she can't remember employees' names, and they are scared of her. And so you do sort of see with both of them that there's like, we're reaching a point for both of them.
What I see is like, I think like kind of the big difference is she is live to work and he is work to live.
100%.
Yeah,
Oh my God, you're
very
right.
much. That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, actually, that sums it up. That sums up the whole drama. That sums up the whole first episode, actually.
Which is also sexy, because I mean, we haven't really gotten into that part of it yet. So at some point, we're going to have to just talk about the fact of like that he took family leave to take care of his sad child.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, they show.
I mean, there's the competency too of like he was competent as a father.
Yes.
Yeah, and they show like basically the teacher had to sit him down and was like, "This is what she's been drawing." And to be honest, if I saw that, like the pictures that poor little Buell was drawing, if I saw that in like a 7-year-old,
like dark and lonely is basically
dark, and I would have.
yeah.
I mean, same. Like that didn't feel exaggerated at all. I was like, he has every reason to be like, holy shit, I got to drop everything and deal with this. Like,
Yep.
And what's cool is because then you see her being like a pretty happy little girl, and you see that how much of a difference that made, that he spent that year getting her better.
Yes. She's a great part of the drama.
I love her.
Just have that icky boss be like, I'm going to be so gross and petty.
Yes.
And like small dick energy weak.
Well, he's like, everyone has family problems. And it's like, well, yeah. And people have to take leave to deal with it. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was
he's
really
the worst.
happy, honestly. I am glad that the boss is a man, because I'm glad we don't have like some like heinous lady trying to do that either. And I'm so happy that like, I mean, and of course, this is like why the drama exists, that we have like the father having like the emotional intelligence and really taking that parenting role super seriously. Because I
Yes.
think having that energy be hashed out between two men is also really fascinating.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, I mean, finally, we get Kang Ji-yoon at home. She walks into a large, dark, and sparsely furnished apartment. There are file folders messily piled on the floor. She doesn't bother to turn on the lights and just plops down onto her couch. Eventually, she falls asleep, like fully clothed on the couch, and starts to dream of a man smiling at her and saying her name. I mean, this is like maybe 90 seconds that we have here, 2 minutes, but like in I think this is what is so impressive about this drama and like the cinematography of it is that we can see in such a short little scene the difference between her home life and Eunho's home life.
Oh my God.
Like, what tropes can we pull from this, like, short glimpse of her life outside the office?
Yeah, it was visually startling on purpose. Like, I was like, I realize what you're doing and it's effective. Like, Eunho has this like super bright house and there's windows and there's plants and there's kid drawings and there's calendars and everything's organized. And then you have Kang Ji-yoon's house, which is dark. There's no proper furniture. She doesn't have a coffee table. She doesn't have food. She just has this like line of water bottles, which always kills me.
Yeah.
The glass water bottles that they always have in K-dramas. Yeah, I mean, her home life looks like incredibly sad. And it's like, again, she's like chaotic in her personal life and clearly doesn't like necessarily have things under control. I mean, it's okay if you
I
can't
feel
afford a
very
coffee
relatable
table.
to this. Yes, I feel
Yeah.
very related. Like
Well, I
this,
don't mean you need a coffee table. Okay, that's not what I mean. I don't have a coffee table either because it doesn't fit in my like in the flow of my room. I just mean she has one couch.
She has only there's only necessary furniture.
Yeah, and it's a
yes.
huge room. It's like a huge because she can afford it. So it's like this like big thing. And so I mean, I'm not saying you need a coffee table. I just mean visually, if you see the drama, you know what they're trying to convey, and it's very
It's like a
effective.
basketball court with a couch.
It's like worse than Healer's bachelor pad.
Healer's
and
bachelor pad still had some coziness.
yeah, Healer's bachelor pad at least had the picture of the island. He at least had a good bed. Hers is like more depressing than that. It's also, you know what? It's like Gong Yu's mansion in the trunk. It's depressing like that
Without the stairs.
without the stairs and the drugs and the chandelier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else I can add. Like, yes. Yes to all that.
So the next day, Eunho's day starts with him being berated by Chief Song, surprise, surprise, that apparently all his work was for nothing because team leader Yang not only left Hansu Electronics, but did so for a Chinese competitor. He's not only leaving the company, but also the country. Eunho heads to Peoples to track him down, sure that this was Kang Ji-yoon's doing. And when he parks in front of her building, before he can exit the vehicle, she hops into the back seat, once again getting into the wrong freaking car. They both step outside and have yet another altercation where Eunho accuses Ji-yoon of having no conscience and sending team leader Yang to China, thereby ruining his reputation and chances of ever working in Korea again. But before Ji-yoon can offer a rebuttal, Eunho finds out that team leader Yang is at the airport and takes off to once again chase him down. And then Ji-yoon's just like left standing in the street, like staring after him, being like, wait, like, I'm not done talking. I wanted to say something, but he's gone. This scene, I think, goes even deeper into the character's goals, motivations, and conflicts, especially Eunho's. Like, knowing that the premise of this drama is that he eventually becomes Kang Ji-yoon's secretary, how does the team leader Yang situation give us the romance butter even more for an enemies to lovers trope?
Well, at this point, we don't know because we think she's responsible.
Yes.
And in all honesty, I am kind of like, ooh, this is going to be rough. Like, how are they going to like reconcile this? Because I kind of agree with him. Like, why are they sending him to China? Can I just say one thing? This was kind of weird because team leader Yang is like, I need to do this for my son. And I was like, so you're taking a job in China?
I was like, what's your son gonna do? Is he coming with you?
No,
Like,
I was like, no one's at the airport with you. Where's your son? Like the whole thing was he didn't want to
Same.
miss his son's soccer games, so he takes a job in China. So stupid. I'm sorry.
I
don't
know
like that.
it makes no sense.
But yeah, I remember thinking like this is gonna be good. Although I was a little worried because I felt like this felt a little insurmountable. Like if she did send him to China, I
Mhm.
did feel conflicted.
Yeah.
So I was like very compelled to keep going. And also because I was like, oh, if she's the reason he gets fired, which we, because we find out
Yeah.
then he's
Yeah.
like accused of stealing. It was dumb. It was just an excuse for Chief Song to fire him. But I was kind of like, yeah, this is going to be a hard thing to come back from. Like, I
Mhm.
do kind of feel like when you write romance, you know, to a degree, unless you write dark romance, that's a whole different set of rules. But I feel like if you write like regular romance, you kind of know like what lines you can cross in enemies to lovers. And I felt like that was a line too far. Again, I didn't know yet that she wasn't the
Right.
one. We'll get there. But I do remember thinking like, whew, this is going to be okay. I'm curious how this is going to play out.
Yeah, and I feel like the China thing, like, I mean, I guess I didn't have a lot of concern because I just was like, no, like, they're not going to make this person like a baddie. They're like, this felt like kind of red herring baddie.
Right. Me too. That's
And it was.
Yeah, and then we see like, and then we see like the new baddie who's going to be like the other headhunter, and I was like, okay. I mean,
Yes.
that stuff never like that felt like I was like land deal ahead.
Yeah. I know.
Which for folks who, because sometimes I realize that people will listen, and then because somebody recently was like, "What does butter like mean in the Patreon?" And I was like, "Oh, like sometimes we need to like repeat why we say certain things." So land deals for us is that just means that that's when you've got like henchmen plotting something because you've got to have oppositional forces for like the leads to overcome. But sometimes they're not as interesting, and so you kind of have to like take your medicine to like get through it, and that's when we call it like the land deals.
That's our umbrella
because
for it.
land deals are like not
land
that
deals and
exciting.
palace intrigue.
And slush funds. If I hear slush funds, I'm
Yep.
because then we meet the real baddie in Purple Heels.
We do. Yeah, so here we go. So before Eunho reaches team leader Yang, we find out another headhunting company, Career Way, is the culprit here.
Career Way is a better name, by the way.
It is than People's. Yeah,
People's with a Z.
They not only stole People's client, but they made it so that People's had no chance of wooing him back to the company that hired them to recruit, team leader Yang. So like Kang Ji-yoon is out, like absolutely. So yeah, I mean, you kind of already brought it up. Like we have like an actual baddie, right? Like we have a bad guy now. And there's some backstory there that we get in later episodes. That's okay-ish. I don't love it. I don't love this part of the drama, but you have to have, some sort of external conflict sometimes. And this is what it's going to be, is we have a competitor who wants nothing more than to see Peoples go under.
Right.
So Eunho becomes his company's scapegoat for losing Yang, and supposedly like Yang like leaked information and like they blame Eunho for it. He had nothing to do with it. It's just Chief Song trying to find a way to, get rid of Eunho, and Eunho is effectively fired. Meanwhile, Mie, who is director of Peoples and Kang Ji-yoon's best friend, is going crazy at work with Kang Ji-yoon not being able to find her phone, her files, her shoes, her everything because of how disorganized she is. Like Mie even tries to put on like noise canceling headphones and like hide in the bathroom and Ji-yoon keeps finding her. She tells Ji-yoon to stop calling her, that she can't get any work done, and then she insists that Ji-yoon needs an assistant. To drive the point home, Ji-yoon then collapses from exhaustion and ends up in the emergency room. The final scene in the drama is a new day at work, with Ji-yoon in a crowded elevator on her way up to the People's floor. In the back of the elevator is Eunho, who sees her and continually tries to turn away so that she won't notice him, so that when she finally gets to her floor, he's comically facing the back of the elevator. And as she greets Mie, we hear footsteps and see Eunho slow-mo walking toward the two women, where Mie introduces him as Kang Ji-yoon's new secretary. Eunho smiles and says, "Good morning, CEO Kang," while Kang Ji-yoon just stares at him incredulously. The end.
What's great, because she clearly doesn't like him because he basically insulted her career. And she feels really strongly about her career. We see her on a stage doing an interview about the importance of her work. So I love that not only was there kind of like an external conflict, like she feels like a grudge against him. And she does. Like And I think she still is a little mad because he outsmarted her a little bit too with some things with Team Leader Yang, and that bothers her.
Yeah. I mean, I like that we found out that there is the real baddie, right? We've got Career Way. So
Yeah.
we know that she did not send Team Leader Yang to China. So
Right.
we now are okay with her, as the heroine at the end. And yes, she has every right to be pissed off that this guy's walking in as her assistant. And you have to wait until episode 2 to find out how that all happened. Because it
Oh,
is,
okay. I was gonna say, so that happened in episode
yeah,
2.
so you
Okay.
don't know how he
Yeah.
winds up her assistant.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I was just gonna.
Because you would think, like, why the fuck would he do this? And it's done very well, like why he ends up there.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad
It's
you just said that because I was gonna mention it
no,
'cause I
no,
forgot that
ruin
was
it.
in
Don't ruin
episode
it.
2.
No, it's so worth
It's
worth
good.
watching.
So
Yeah.
if you watched episode 1 now, or you're planning on it, just keep going because episode 2 is great.
So Megan, I know you went on with this drama and that you're watching it, but like Leah, after this first episode, 1 to 5 scale, what would you give it?
For me, I mean, I would give it like a 4, but like 5 for the fact that I knew I was going to continue.
Yeah, I mean, like you want to keep going at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I immediately sent after I watched the first episode, I sent Amy a message saying, like, you're correct. That was a great first episode. I love a good episode that just lets you know what to expect, introduces the characters, and gives you the conflict. Like, I really just please give that to me in the first episode, or at least give me enough that's going to keep me going. Like, I understand if it's like half hour, but most of these, if you give me an hour-long episode, you should
Yeah.
have that. Like,
It's good exposition. It's not chaotic where you're like, what the hell's going on? Where,
yeah.
we do have to go back and talk about some first episodes that are like super chaotic and why they didn't work.
We do.
Which
We
I
do.
think
We
would be
need to
fun.
pick. I do, because we've only picked up first episodes that we like.
Yeah.
And I think we need to go back and pick things that we don't like. The first episodes that don't work, like Hospital Playlist.
Right.
This was a real delight because I normally feel like I think most of us do, right? We're just used to like having to like grin and bear it through a first episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, definitely not like this one. I can genuinely say that like I've got to go finish Singles Inferno now. I've got, my daughter here and we're ready to like knock out the last episode. But I'm actually like now, and I'm excited to just be like pumped to watch a drama.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm finding with Love Scout is it's heartwarming right now. Like right now, I kind of want to see the good guys win. I need that for like my soul,
Yeah.
So it just feels good to be watching a drama where you feel like the good guys are going to win, because there's sort of like little vignettes from about different candidates, and it just feels good to like see good things happen to them. It feels good to see Kang Ji-eun and Eun-ho want the best for these people.
Yeah. You see, I mean, like that's the thing is you see her, she evolves a lot as far as her connection to her candidates and to her team.
Right. Well, yeah. And like I said, I'm only on episode 7, but I think overall, though, she always wanted the best for her candidates. I just think she's maybe starting to see things in a little different perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah, and
if you got to the chef one, then you're seeing that transition.
Yeah, I really like it. And I'm really enjoying this drama. Everyone was right. Like I see why on social media and Patreon they're like, this is just enjoyable. And
I mean, like, Sarah and Grace of Afternoona asks, like Sarah especially has been on me, like, Amy, just try this drama. Like the Patreon's going wild about it. Like she's like, I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. And I have to give credit because like when Sarah and Grace think that I'm going to like something, they are always right. They're always right. Like they're the reason that, I fell in love with Go Back Couple. They're the reason that I watched Twinkling Watermelon. Like they have pushed me in the right direction. So I don't know why I waited. I think it was just, I was so excited for When the Stars Gossip. And then after episode 1, I was like, oh, this is going to be a chore because I'm not in love in episode 1. So I'm like, I'm just, you know what? Like Sarah keeps telling me, like, I'm just going to try Love Scout. And then I was like, I watched 7 episodes in 2 days. So
yeah, I was watching Singles Inferno and I was just like doing other things. So I started Love Scout a little late. But now I'm super enjoying it. Like I'll finish dinner and sit down and that's like my K-drama time. And I love it. It's been a really enjoyable drama. We will cover it on the pod because I think we're all going to finish it. Because I do think Leah will.
Oh
love
yeah,
it.
I think I'll just blast through it.
Yeah.
It is very easy to blast through. It is.
It is. It's really delightful and sweet, and
Low angst. I mean, there is some past trauma, but it's low angst for the most part. Like I will say, like I've watched 11 or 12 episodes. And it's just one of those things, like I was telling you guys, that I just like find myself smiling while I'm watching it. And that
yeah.
hasn't happened in a while.
And also, like, I'm kind of seeing where the conflict is going. Like, I can kind of see I think some things they're trying to hide about the past drama.
Yeah, no, I
can,
figured it out. Like I messaged
yeah,
Sarah.
I mean,
Is this the conflict? And I'm
the
like,
big, yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, and it's fine. Like, it's just lovely to see two people make each other better people. Like that is,
It's a mature relationship. We've got adults here, folks. We've got
thank
a
God.
40-year-old hero and a 42-year-old heroine,
Ugh.
in real life. I'm like, I love my young heroes and heroines too, but like I love seeing grown-ups being grown-ups sometimes.
Me too. It's really lovely. It doesn't have the same vibe at all of Love to Hate You, but it's giving me similar feelings. It's giving
Yes.
me similar feelings to that like low angst drama about two adults falling in love. And like that is, thank you. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is what I want. So yeah, I hope you guys check it out, and I hope you understand why we thought the first episode was so good, because Amy, you were right. You're right. It's a great first episode.
Well, thank you both for watching.
Yes.
Of course.
And thank you for giving me the push, because I've been like meaning to, but it's kind of one of those dramas that I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it. And there's other ones that I've like meant to watch, like No Gain, No Love, that I just like didn't get to. And then I feel like time marches on, and I'm like, there's
Right.
other ones I think about more. But I feel like this is hitting me at a good time, because I am going to say that I'm going to go out on a limb and say When the Stars Gossip is probably going to be, I'm curious how I'm going to land out in the end, but look, I'm not going to like it. Like, I know that. I don't think I have like, kill it with like, we'll see. There's things I will rant about.
How many episodes is that going to be?
I think it's 16.
It is. It's
oh my
a full
God.
one.
It's
Yes.
a full one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm on, I just finished 12. So
Oh
we're on
my
like the
God.
home stretch. We got 4 left.
Okay,
And
'cause
I
was
mean, I
thinking-
know what it's going to do at this point for the most
Right.
part. So, but Oh Jung-se, man, whew, he is sexy. And then Singles Inferno, honestly, we're going to pod on that too, but it was a bummer of a season.
Yeah, I haven't. The first 2 episodes are out as we're recording this, and I'm sorry. Did I say that?
The last
2 episodes are out as we record this, and all this whole time I've been watching them. As soon as they came out, I was super stoked around episode 3. I thought this was going to be a fantastic season, and it's really fizzled for me. And I have a lot of thoughts as to why that we'll talk about when we talk about Singles Inferno, because I have like some specific things that I think where they went wrong, in my opinion, and how they can fix stuff. Because I know they listen, clearly. They listen to us.
They should.
don't. I'm kidding.
They
should. They should, because we have ideas.
But you all listening right now should listen to us and go watch Love Scout. If you watch episode 1, you'll want to watch 2 through 12. So, yeah. Thank you for listening, for hanging with us. We hope you enjoyed our Tropetastic First episode, and we will see you next time.
Annyeong.
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!